Alright, welcome to live coaching classes and videos by Universal Recovery 360. You see that little logo right there in that corner right there, that thing right there? Well, you can't actually see me pointing, that's weird. Let me see, there it is. Yeah, that thing right there. Anyway, I made a promise that today I would talk about addiction, on what we see as addiction, and how we describe addiction, and why that just might be the reason we can't get out of it. Most people say, in the rooms, they say things like it's a man or woman whose life is controlled by drugs, or obsessive compulsive behaviors. And that has something to do with it, but that's not it. Before you understand addiction, you have to break down addiction, right? Because some people say drugs is just a symptom, but I'm going to show you how small of a symptom they are. The actual problem that makes a person prone to the disease of addiction is having things in common with the things that you do in the disease of addiction. Like, let's say I'm very hyperactive and I gotta move around all the time. I always gotta be doing something. That falls right in line with the disease that I suffer from. Right? Let's say because of illness or something, I don't get to sleep very often, so I'm up all the time. Fits right in with the disease of addiction of my choice. Right? Hyperactive, up all night. Starting to sound familiar, but none of this has anything to do with drugs. This is just me as a human being, right? These are the things that make me susceptible, right? Because it's so easy for me to fall into the system because I already do them, right? Let's say I'm nosy and I'm always watching and I want to know what's going on all the time, right? Fits right into my disease. These are like crack cocaine symptoms and methamphetamine symptoms. You notice that? Up all night, hyperactive, talk, right? Always doing something, right? Got all the sense, right? So these are the things that fall in line with what we do. So when we try it for the first time, right, it, how you say, it fills the need of all of those things at one time. It's fucking fantastic. Let's get the shit out the way, right? I can talk as much as I want. I can move as much as I want. All falls in line. Now, I'm not saying those things I like doing, which is probably why I'm not in addiction right now, because I don't believe that the way I function should define who I am. Right? I believe that the way I function only matters when the time comes and I don't step it up to do the right thing. Right? I don't switch out of that, right? And say, okay, yeah, now's not the time for that. Now it's time for me to tighten up, make a better decision, do us right. Boom, move on out of there. Right? That's my skill set today. I can allow myself to be me, be free, right? And when it's time to make a move, step in. Because you gotta be yourself, right? Know thyself. The importance of allowing yourself to be is like the full definition of freedom. Right? So many people are fighting for freedom and they're not fighting the job, they're not fighting the place. They're fighting all these little characteristics that they don't know they have, that they struggle with. Some person might have a habit of not looking people in the eye. In some places, that's a culture. But you come here and you don't look a person in the eye, they don't think you're serious. Do you know what I'm saying? So you find something that allows you to look people in the eye, right? That's the other side of it. So now it makes you susceptible to the need of it, right? So you say, yeah, when I smoke that weed, man, I can look people in the eye. No, it's not the weed. I never thought weed should have been illegal. But my point is, we always have characteristics already that fit the criteria of diseases. What do you think they call these people that make these things scientists for? They done broke down your whole anatomy, just like I can do, or you can do. So when you fall into this thing called the disease of addiction, let me remind you of something. People say, oh, I'm always be an addict. Once an addict, always an addict, right? That's because of those symptoms underneath, right? Like hyperactiveness, right? You're always gonna be hyperactive, right? Or naturally curious, right? You're always gonna be naturally curious. The problem is, are you gonna stop being that and be what you need to be when the time comes, right? That's how we miss our doors, right? Because we become a certain way and we don't know how to get up out of it, right? That way we become is only because we allow it to be that way. You have to be able to come up out of it. You have to be able to take your symptoms, right, and say, okay, I know I'm hyperactive, but right now I'm going to breathe. You have to be able to say, okay, I know I don't get a lot of sleep, right, but tomorrow's a very important day, so from this point forward, I'm going to rest, right? You have to make that next decision that says, okay, that might be who I am, but that's not who I choose to be right now, right? That's how you come out of that. Because if you notice, in the same sentence or in the same breath that some people say, once an addict, always an addict, call yourself an addict in recovery, those same people readings themselves say, we do recover, right? So if you have recovered, that makes recovery ended, right? Recover, right? So you have to find what works for you. But also, before you can do any of that, you have to know who you are, right? Because you might find something that you like the way it works and hope it works for you, but it might not be for you. Yet you spend your whole life trying to get in that lane. And then you hear people say things like, yeah, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. So, when I say you have the power to do, be whatever you want to do and be, and I say I have the power to do and be whatever I choose to do and be, I also know, right, that power in today's society requires a process. Right? It requires you to set a pattern, right, to get there. Mine could be this way, yours could go start off that way. We could cross paths, we might never cross paths, but we could always have the same end result in mind and in mind. And as long as we keep doing what we need to do according to our path, we'll end up in that same location, going in different directions, universally. It's a beautiful life. But it sucks if you don't understand. And this is why you notice a lot of people that are not in addiction or never been addicted to any drug need meetings more than people that used to do drugs. You be like talking to them and you be like, this motherfucker need a meeting, you know? Because they have symptoms that you notice as a recovering addict. You notice it because you were there and you notice it and you see it in them. They just don't or haven't crossed the line in the drugs. They've done everything else just like you. Can't sleep, right? Struggle with sleep at night, right? Up all the time, right? Hyperactive, can't stop moving, can't be still. You know people like that don't do drugs, right? Talk all the time, got all the sense, right? Love to be happy, love to feel good, Yeah. Get all that in one shot, one hit, one dose. Of course they falling for it. I fell for it. So remember, you being an addict is your choice. Me, I don't define myself. I go above and beyond to do the right thing. I don't define myself. I don't define myself as an addict. I don't define myself as not being an addict. I don't define myself as anything. I characterize myself based on truth. There were times when I did things that weren't too nice. Let your good deeds outweigh your bad deeds. It doesn't give you or me a reason to excuse any bad deeds, to ask for forgiveness always. But you don't have to be an addict. You don't have to live a life that you're not happy with. You don't have to. I know some people feel like it's the only life there is. I used to feel like that. Like there's no other way. Nothing else gonna work. It is what it is. If this don't work, I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do it again. It don't matter. That's just the way I believe. Then I started hearing people say, I was like that. And it did matter. And I was able to change. Here's my problem. And I say this all the time. People don't change. It's what they do next that defines them. What I mean by that is, I don't do drugs anymore. But I'm still hyperactive. I still gotta be moving. My supervisor be like, sit down. You gotta learn to sit down. Like, and I know how to sit down, right? 'Cause I pretty much mastered the art of being me, but I also know that if I sit down because of other issues that I have, I could get that lazy thing going on and not want to get back up. And so I fight. I don't say that, right? I respect the fact that you see a side of me that needs adjusting, right? But I know that it's there, and I know it needs adjusting. But I know that's not the time or the place to adjust it. So yeah, I'm on it. I got that, and I love you. I love you guys. Right? But remember, right? I work at this facility now. It's marijuana maintenance. I've never seen people so happy to not use heroin in my entire life. It's not about tomorrow. It's not about future. It's not about a job. It's not about happiness. It's about not using heroin. Like, it is so powerful. Right? You steady be saying things like, man, you need to start working on getting a job. They still in that, I'm just happy I'm not on heroin right now. And you have no idea. And the more I live with them, the more I get to see how important it is for them to know that they went another day without heroin. It's impressive. Right? The time is very short, but it is impressive. There's a next step, of course, that needs to come after that, but first step is very hard. And if you've never been there, you just might miss it. You just might miss the power in the statement when they say that to you. You just might say, yeah, no, a lot of people say that. No, I'm talking about the emotional handicap that frees itself from them every time they say, I didn't have to use heroin today. The force of the relief in the verbal presentation is outstanding. You learn something every day when you're looking to learn. It was important that I learned how to listen And now it's very valuable to me that I can listen to learn. It's very valuable, right? Because I could be that hyperactive kid and then bam, time to listen to learn. Snap up out of it for now. That's how you do it. When it gets real, you get real. When it gets tight, you get tight. When it loosens up, you loosen up, right? But you choose what, where, when, how, who, and why you are. You choose. You don't have to be, right? In the sense where to be means just existing, right? We get it. We exist, right? But we are so much more than that. Like, I could be like this quiet guy that sits around and satisfied with the minimal things in life. I don't even like maximum things in life. Like, I don't even like minimal things in life. I just like life. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with what I have, what I don't have, what I want, what I don't want, what I need, what I don't need. All that's secondary. The fact that I love my life is primary. And these are some of the things you have to recondition yourself. That's why in recovery they say recondition yourself. You have to do a complete overhaul of who you are. And that's because of the physical connection to the conditioning, right? It has nothing to do with the spiritual side, because if you jumped in that spirit, you change like that, right? And again, I say it all the time. People don't change. It's the things they do next that define them. So when I say you can change like that, I want you to understand what I mean. I want you to understand what I mean. I'm saying it like that because I know that's how you understand it. But eventually, I'm not going to say it like that anymore because I'm hoping that you get that there's a very big difference in saying change and doing something different when the time comes, right? There's a difference. But it's the identification that you give it is the reason.